How's it going, Laser Bruises? I'm Bobby Sixkilla and welcome back to Birth Me Code. Now, you remember at the end of the last one, I was trying to figure out what path we could take next, and I was fiddling around, but I ended up getting the help from one of you wonderful subscribers out there, Binary Lev, who gave me a hint in the right direction there, and we needed to max out Superbia here so that we can push our way onto here. I think this is the only path we can do at the moment. So let's just jump in, skip ahead to the new stuff, and see what's going down. Alright. All cards were swiped, all helmets were affixed. At that moment, no one could move anymore. Based on what I saw, it's obvious Superbia is the culprit, but we cannot get anyone to vote for her. They're gonna kill the wrong person altogether. They already were all in agreement. Only Ankara's voice rose to interrupt the flow, going Superbia's way. Stop. No, we can't vote for Superbia. What's this all about? Another one of your insights? You're defending her? We already made up our minds, so vote or shut up. And now Era is defending the choice too, but isn't he close to Superbia? No way. If you're voting for her, you're gonna kill me. I saw her change the portraits around. You can't switch them, see? Oh, you can switch them, see? As if to prove that fact, Ankara lifted her own portrait from the console, then she put it back where it was. And each portrait can fit in any other socket. Don't you remember their layout from the first round? And how some of them moved? Now that you mention it, we're sorted in an interesting way. On the left, it's mostly made of herbivores. In the middle, we have omnivores. And on the right, we have carnivores. You're completely correct. Bia's portrait moved from the herbivores over to the omnivores. And Cora's portrait moved over to the herbivore area despite being a bear. Whatever then, if you want to believe that and vote for Cora, be my guest. Won't have her death on my mind then. Like you have anyone's death on your mind. You killed Ulla without a second thought. And nobody's dead for this hour slice yet. Mission accomplished, I think. We all survived that hour. So it doesn't even make you nervous, huh? The fact we're gonna vote for me? No, not at all. Slight hesitation was telling. So what do we do now? Instead of telling Superbia she was full of shit, Avarisha decided to change the subject back to voting, which they needed to do before the discussion turned into a half-hour-long waste of time. I don't think we have much of a choice. We have to vote for Cora. Isn't that dangerous? What if we really do get her? I'm okay with it. I trust in this. You should too. I'd rather trust Cora if I had to pick between her and Bia, to be perfectly honest. That was a mistake. Wait, I changed my mind. I think something else is going on. Sorry, but my vote's already in. It's do or die. Superbia clicked her tongue in an annoyed tone. Look, you can't vote for me. I mean Cora. But she'd already put her vote in for herself. The numerous slip-ups as well as her insistence on having the group vote for her only fanned the flames of doubt, even for Era. Goodbye then, Bia. And honestly, good riddance. Nice. And Ankara put in her vote as well. Our screens above the voting consoles settled onto Superbia's symbol. It was clear what was to follow. It was her execution. Every shotgun but the victims released their hold, leaving the participants to witness the macabre outcome. It only took a moment for the gunshots to come. It sounded like it had shot Superbia at point-blank range, but in reality, there was no bullet holes in the helmet she wore. Time slowed down. Eventually, everything froze. This should be interesting, this bit. There you are. Ah, I'm fucking dead, aren't I? It would seem so, yes. Fuck. There's no need to swear now, it's over. All of it, that is. All your life, and your work, and your hopes. Sounds to me like something I'd want to swear about. It's meaningless. Won't bring them back. It's also not going to bring you back alive. It's over, so please accept it. Fine, I'll accept it. It can't be over that quickly though, can it? Not just yet. We have some time still. First of all, do you know your name? No. Whatever I'm thinking about can't be it. Your name's Annie Sinsowski. Sinsowski. What about my family? They did too? Sorry, I can't say that. And why not, if it doesn't matter? Just fucking say it already. Swearing at me won't make me say it. I just can't because I know it, yet I can't say it. Something's stopping me. Whatever. So my name's Annie, huh? Yes, in life you're a real bitch. I'll punch you in the face. I'm just saying it how it is, and besides, you can't deny that. You did some really bad stuff, but I can't say them either. What's with all the secrecy? Piecing it together is part of the process. I can't just give the answer, not here. That must be annoying to you, but it's just how it is. I think I have a right to know this kind of shit. Unfortunately, the dead have no rights. They only have lefts. Is that your idea of a joke? No, I mean that they leave things behind. What did you leave behind, Annie? A fortune, I guess. I remember being rich. No, you weren't rich. Your parents were. When you realized you weren't rich, and your control was lessened, you took things from others. I'll just leave it at that. Guess you were right. A real bitch. Too late to change now. Besides, I don't wanna. I didn't think you would. Our time is coming to an end. What do you mean, our time? Are you dead too? Not yet. Eventually. Probably. Either way, what are your final words? I wish I could tell my parents that I'm sorry. And for God, why do you exist? Why do atrocities exist in your name? Dust to dust, ashes to ashes. You surrendered your right to live. I'll now carry your memory. Sure, whatever. Whatevs. On the floor was a dead body, much like the one before. Neither of them had been cleaned up yet. One of them was fresher than the other. The bunny's immobilized body remained flat to the ground. If only she would simply be beheaded, then a pool of blood would grow underneath her body and that would be it. However, much like in Luxuria's case, a grimmer fate awaited her. Much like in Luxuria's case, the helmet exploded. She didn't carry anything interesting, and everyone was repulsed by the sight of a dead body, so no one approached her. Instead, everyone gathered at a respectable distance from it in silence. Well, that's dealt with. A single thought went through Ankara's head. Before she said anything, someone else did. This is where you end up, huh? I'm not really surprised. He wasn't speaking to anybody in particular. And it seemed as though he was more talking to himself. No longer wishing to see the dead body, everyone split up. It was clear this outcome was coming, yet no one really wanted to talk to celebrate. Except Era. He didn't leave. Ankara remained close by as the others left their vicinity. She didn't mean to eavesdrop, but it just happened on its own anyway. If you just stopped trying to do this shit, you wouldn't be lying dead on the floor. What did I do everything for now? Now that you're dead, all this stuff I helped for. The boy slowly fell down to his knees, still intently watching the body. Ankara felt more and more awkward. She thought perhaps she should leave them alone. No, I have to find out who the traitor is. There was a chance it was Superbia. Era's words could help. Curiosity took over her feeling of awkwardness, and she remained, making herself smaller by nonchalantly walking to a nearby wall and leaning against it. I knew I shouldn't have done any of it. Not like I had a choice. Stupid. I was stupid, and you were stupid too. He punched against the floor, not too far from her body. It was almost like he was sobbing in his helmet. Very quickly, he quieted himself again, clearing his throat. I can't even blame anyone for killing you too. It'll be way too fucking easy, eh? But you chose this by doing all this stupid shit. This is all about choice, isn't it? You could choose, but I couldn't. I can't choose. I can't ever choose. It's always just your choice. It's always just what matters to you. What then? What if I had chosen? Maybe you wouldn't be dead there. And then you'd have seen. When I make my own choice, it's not because I want to take control, goddammit. It's because I want to help you, help others. Clearly you didn't care about my help, huh? Maybe I was just blind. I should make my own fucking choices now. I never wanted a leader, I just wanted you. Another punch on the ground. It was strong enough to cause the room to shake a little. Ankara could see he was well built. But this much? He stood up. Ankara recoiled, trying to hide herself in against the corner. Now that he was back up, what if he decided she was a threat? It was his choice now. A gloom realization set in. He hadn't been doing much because he was leaving it to Superbia, and now she wasn't here anymore. But he didn't come towards her at all. In fact, he staggered toward the staircase, his arms moving back and forth slowly under him, as though he was a zombie. Perhaps he was one now. Cautiously, Ankara closed the distance again. She was going to tail him a little, see what he'd do. Everyone else had already left this area and gone into Wing A, presumably to unlock the door and proceed forward. However, after coming down the stairs, Ankara realized that he knew she was there. "Are you following me?" He asked the words without turning around. When she didn't answer, he faced her again, looking slightly ticked off. At least as much as he could look with that helmet on. "You know, Bea really hated you." "Yeah, I thought that." "Hey, you're not stuttering anymore." Ira chose to ignore the less polite part of that observation. "But I kept trying to tell her that you aren't that bad, as far as we could see yet. She never cared for it. Said you knew too much or something daft such as that." Ankara remained silent, curious as to where this was leading. "But now, I don't know anymore. I'm torn, you know?" He stepped towards her. She took a reflexive step backwards. Something in her told her that she had to run, to move, to go away. It's not safe here. He's not in his right mind. Anyone would lose their way after something like this. "I'm torn because I fucking loved her, you know? I'm torn because I don't want her to fucking hurt anybody. But she's gone and did it. Did it before, did it now, to me, by dying like a bitch-ass chump. And you know why this happened? It's because of you, and everyone else. It's because everyone here killed her that I feel that way. So I'm gonna make my own choice." He kept moving toward her, and unfortunately he was much bigger than Ankara. The more she stepped backwards, the more she tried to find a way to run around him and rejoin the group. Staying behind had been a bad idea. All she managed to do was trip when she got to the staircase, her ass falling flat onto one of the cement stairs. He closed the distance rather quickly. "I ain't gonna kill you. That's never gonna be me. But I voted for her too. I have no idea what to think about. By getting me to vote for you, you made me vote for her. And an innocent was spared. Not an innocent of all things, mind you, but in this case an innocent. Tell him already. Just say the words." But Ankara's mouth felt like lead. No matter how much she tried to articulate a sound, she couldn't oppose him. He was menacing, and she was powerless. She hated that. Her hate was beginning to form into some modicum of strength, but it was too late already. "Just stay here for a while. Stop fucking up the group, you and your hallucinations." A hard punch flew at her, but thankfully she managed to dodge it, in extremis, by rolling to the side, the stair digging into his skin and bones. Leaping off, she ran around him. But his arm reached out and grabbed her. The lion doesn't let go that easily. You don't run from them. They'll catch up and get you. And just like that, a solid punch landed onto Ankara's helmet. The girl fell to the ground like a marionette, without its strings. The reverberation caused her to pass out on the spot. Someone was shaking her. She could tell. The contact was clear. But she couldn't see anything. Even talking yielded no results. She couldn't even hear her own words. Maybe she didn't have a voice. Maybe she was still lying in bed. Her mother was shaking her to wake her up. But she didn't want to wake up. School could wait. She said something else, but she still couldn't hear her own voice. Was she mute? Did her ears not function properly? One hand reached for the bed sheets to adjust them on her. She'd been in a deep, deep dream, and now she had to wake up? The hand shaking her became more insistent. The girl was about to turn over to tell her off, as she always did. But after one arm extended to grab the bed sheets, she noticed something was wrong. First of all, she was asleep alone. She never slept alone. There was always someone else next to her. Who? It was hard to remember. There was something else though, or perhaps a lack of something else. She couldn't grab the bed sheets. They didn't exist. Pain surged through her. She fell before her body remembered. She was on the cold, hard ground. A hand was shaking her to bring her back to reality. Nvidia? Finally, vision and sound returned to her. This was not her bedroom. The woman next to her was not her mother. She was in the school, in that accursed school. Cora, you okay? What you're saying doesn't make any sense. I can't get up. Avarisha helped her back on her feet, but the girl almost immediately fell down again. Her legs were shaking. The older woman supported her, holding her and helping her walk over to the staircase close by. And Cora sat down, regaining her consciousness at an absurdly slow rate. What happened? What time is it? She very quickly panicked. The timer had been ticking down, even as she was passed out. It's over. The fight broke out while you were unconscious. Ira died, and I ran away. Imagine my surprise when I found you here, out cold on the ground. Any details? Do you know about the Tinkerbell effect? It's an expression describing... I'll just let her explain, I guess. No, I don't. The Tinkerbell effect is named after a famous fairy from a movie made for children, taking from the fact that everyone believed in her survival, which brought her back to life. I think that's what happened. Huh? I don't follow. Ira believed everybody to be against him, to have cost him what he'd been yearning for the most, and made the choice to pursue his own agenda. This, in turn, turned everyone against him, and what he believed became true. But beliefs don't work that way. Are you sure about that? That's my daughter's catchphrase, by the way. Are you sure about that? I can believe all I want, that I'm out of here, but it doesn't make me leave this place. Probably not, because your state of being here has already been confirmed. However, the opposite exists too. The reverse Tinkerbell effect. The more you believe you'll be fine and that everything will work out, the less they will, because you'll grow too complacent to act. This is the same thing here. We all believe we'd make it out alive, so now we can't get out alive due to what transpired. And Cora slowly stood up, only to fall back down onto the stairs. Sit down for a few more moments. You're still not quite there. I want to get back up. We need to solve the rooms. The timer is ticking. The hour's going away. It's too late now. Instead, I have something much more important to tell you. So please pay attention. And Cora couldn't talk back. Her innate curiosity was piqued, and she remained silent to listen. It's a message from Vidi, which... But as soon as Avarisha began talking, a loud static noise erupted instead. In a severely distorted voice came strange directives. Hack Gula, hack Gula, hack Gula. Order by table. Oh my god, I should be writing all this down. Where's my piece of paper? That's obviously what the next path is. Hack Gula. Order by table is going to be the puzzle. Right? To hack Gula. I'm going to write that down. So I always have my pen and paper. Despite that, she didn't react to it, as if she didn't hear it, or even say it. As Avarisha continued speaking, her head turned to the side. She was looking behind Ankara, toward the top of the stairs. You. What happened in... Oh, not Tricidia again. But she didn't finish her sentence. 2 gunshots rang out and their effect was immediately visible. Avarisha fell down the stairs in a heap, and the inevitable followed. An explosion robbed the teacher of her head, knocking Ankara away and back to the ground. And the dust spreading around her, she could barely see anything of the person who had shot Avarisha. A frosty shiver ran up her spine. That shape. What? I thought Ira was already dead. That's Ira, isn't it? But isn't he dead? Ankara was shot at that moment. She finally managed to catch a glimpse of her assailant. Yet that wasn't enough to guard her against a real physical bullet, boring a hole through her helmet. She then died too, her head engulfed in a hot mess of an explosion. All of her senses shut down right as it began. And then she was no more. Doesn't make any sense that Ira would be the one to shoot. He's dead. Also, what was up with that strange screeching? I couldn't even think while it was going on. Was Ira the one to knock the helmet offline and snag the gun? That's the only way, which means killing Superbia during the vote triggered him enough to go insane? I don't know, and I'm fading. Alright, we know what to do next at least. We just gotta figure out where we can hack Gula. I mean, it'll be unlocked. It'll be one of those key lock dealies. Order by table, that's going to be our puzzle, presumably. Though that doesn't make any sense to me yet. But I'm sure it will. Alright, let's reorganize this flowchart then. Alright, well I think with that set up we should be good to jump in and head through this puzzle and to this path here. Let's just jump in and see what happens. I need to hack someone, especially because tensions will be at an all-time high due to someone surrendering their right to live. I decided to hack Gulla's helmet. Alright, here we go. This is going to bring up a whole bunch of new stuff. If we can order by table, whatever that means. Order by table. Alright, we're going to open the hints immediately, always. Alright, so my guess is it's the periodic table. But I do not know the periodic table off the top of my head, so I'm going to look it up. So the lowest number is carbon. No, bromine, B. Then carbon. I wonder if it makes a word. I'd be stoked if it probably won't. There's not enough vowels, is there? And then we got 7, which is N, nitrogen. Then we get 8, oxygen. Good. Then we got 9. Fluorine. I think 15's the next lowest, which is P. And then we got 16, that's sulfur. Then we got 92, oh we got 19. 19, so Y. And then I, and then U. Okay, that took a little while. But I think that's it. Shazam. We need to wrap this episode up soon, but let's see at least what we see from hacking that thing. Come on, give me something juicy before, you know, Superbia shoots you. Earlier I could not help but ascertain your fascination with more deathly elements of life. Gulla and Tristidia were sitting together onto some benches in the crossroads. After a few more seconds of this awkward silence, Gulla had finally broken it, prompting Tristidia to reply, suddenly interested. So what do you make of that? You seem to have spent a lot of time thinking about it before confronting me on that. Well, to be completely honest, I'm entirely unable to understand your macabre interest on the subject of eternal darkness. Tristidia was going to answer, but at the last moment, he stood up. Following him, Gulla did much of the same. The two of them began walking around the consoles with no clear goal in particular. Not gonna lie, I don't know. This weird interest of mine, I don't know where it's from. I guess a part of me is just unable to stop thinking about life and death. While Tristidia was talking, Gulla wandered around, looking at the equipment. Now that there was no cylinder covering any of it, she was free to examine it without any issues. Ever wonder what happens to you after you die? Perhaps, perhaps not. I deduce it won't truly be my concern once I've reached that outcome. I don't mean just about yourself. The world's a strange place and so much of it is weird. What if our deaths affected it way more than we originally thought? I'm afraid you've lost me. Gulla was tampering with the portraits on one of the machines. While she spoke with Tristidia, her hands were busying themselves, changing the Avarisha portraits with her own. Oh, she figured that she could change the portraits, didn't she? No, wait. She was doing it on her own right off the bat. Someone most likely told her. Well, Superbia. But who? Tristidia was too focused on his semi-monologue to notice what she was doing. He'd stopped walking and was staring off into a metaphorical abyss. What is consciousness? What determines that I am something that sees and thinks? Are my thoughts not just the product of my experiences based on pattern recognition? Yes. It's not a question that can really be answered, I think. Life's strange. Do we exist because the world lets us exist, or does the world exist because we let it exist? There are a few different schools of philosophy on the subject of reality. If the world exists because we can see it, then doesn't it stand that once we die, it stops existing? In a moment of attention, Gulla shrugged, before pointing over to the empty spot that once housed Ira's body. The irate entity which once resided in that very location has obtained the status of deceased, and I consider them alive as you and I. Did their perspective matter? Does yours matter? Does mine matter? Who actually is the important life here? Is there even an important life? Or does the perception of reality constitute only a baseline element and none of us actually matter? Well, important. No one's more important than anyone else. Tristidia sighed, launching himself into a new monologue while Gula was busy with the consoles. As the horsemaster once spoke, the two of them moved about the room again, switching from console to console. Was she changing all of them to manipulate the vote? While being easily observable by Tristidia? Take a video game, for example. If we humans have created video games based on systems that can only exist in reality, then life isn't so different. If we die in a video game, we start back at the beginning. When we die then, does life restart? I can't think there's nothing after life. I don't believe in any heaven or hell, but there can't be nothing. How do you feel nothing? How do you see nothing? You don't feel or see. How is it possible not to perceive exactly? Those concepts are so alien to me, to you, to all of us who are still alive, in fact. Isn't it like, you know, when you go to sleep, you don't perceive anything, unless you're dreaming? I suppose you're not wrong on some level, but determining which elements are falsehoods, are derisions while ascertaining the truth, will prove to be more difficult than you can ever imagine. That's true. Gula was clearly not paying too much attention, considering the flowery vocabulary she used as part of her normal pattern was just vague enough. Even Tristidia noticed after a moment. At least it wouldn't kill you to listen to what I'm saying, Ulla. Even if you don't believe in any of it. I think it's important to have different opinions on existence. Agreed. Very well. In that case, what I believe is that time is a river always flowing toward the same side. To suggest existence renews itself upon someone's specific ceasing their biological activities is preposterous. Then how do you explain existence? How are we all even here? All of us can affect how the flow goes. Gula remained silent. At this point she didn't fiddle with the consoles anymore. Maybe her attention had been taken by being directly involved in the speech this time. Nobody can answer that question. This is all just a hypothesis. But if I had to guess, someone on the planet has the ability to keep the universe rolling. And the rest? They're all just non-playable characters, or NPCs. You're talking about God. If you think one person's in control and everyone else is just doing whatever they will it, then you're talking about God, aren't you? They exist, they think, they act, but it's just programming. They don't actually exist. All of this is a worrying thought. Based on that sordid thought, you have a much higher chances to be an entity without free will, as the odds are not playing in your favour. Exactly that, exactly that. After a short silence, Tristidia turned around and began walking toward the meeting spot. Gula took only a few moments before deciding to follow after him. On another subject, who should be casting our ballot for? That's for the group to decide. This time we're not pressed for time at all, so we can easily think about it. Some of the other 5 voters will possibly organise themselves in a similar way. Yes, I've already thought about it. To manipulate the votes, even if everyone was against it, or maybe some of them lied. Either way, it's dangerous. Tristidia scratched the back of his head, seemingly worried. I believe it originally was Lux's idea. Trist, we should vote for her this time. We'll see. But I do take this into consideration. Okay, that's enough information. Time's a ticking. The feed cut at that moment, restoring vision to Ankara's helmet. And that seems like a perfect place to wrap this one up, because we are definitely out of time for today, but we will kick off here and see where this one ends up, and then hopefully we'll it's gonna flow to these new paths now. Each path will flow to a new path. I think we're on our way here. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, thanks for hanging out for me, and I'll see you in the next one.